Hey, it's Anthony and Tucker. We came to bring you another lender update. So let's kind of dive right into the data here from February.
Yeah, what we're looking at right now is first and foremost, your buyers have a lot of inventory to look at. Year over year for February, we're up 27% compared to last year, while our under contracts are only up just about 3%. That is a good sign that they are going up and we are moving forward, but we just need to catch up our under contracts to the actives because that's the big delta right now. That's growing and we want that to shrink to help keep prices stabilized.
If you look at inventory specifically, help if we dive in this just a little bit.
Yeah.
City of Boulder has a lot of inventory. They're up about 17% from last year, but they were already kind of high. Erie is one that really stands out to me, 178 units right now. Other than that, I mean, across the board, we're seeing big increases in the active units on the market. And it's largely due not just that sellers are more interested in selling, it's just that buyers really haven't changed their behavior, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, interest rates are basically where they were a year ago. And because of that, we're experiencing a very similar market. And
to really hit on that, just look at the active in the upper right-hand corner. We're over 1,000 units in Boulder County that are for sale.
In a February.
That hasn't happened in quite a long time. So that just shows that we have a lot of supply right now.
We do. All right. Well, month supply of inventory is kind of how we gauge that difference between what buyers and sellers are experiencing, right? And at 3 months of inventory, I really like to think of this as we're probably close to balanced in Boulder County. I know NAR would tell you it's 4 to 6 months, but nationally, when they see 4 to 6 months, we probably see 3. And buyer behavior changes here are very different than other places. Mm-hmm. So this is really where, your buyers are really able to go out and actually get some things that they need. And the seller's not controlling the entire conversation.
Yeah. And then the way to see what areas are more competitive and which ones are less is look at that month supply, that MSI number on the lower left. The higher the number, the more in the buyer's favor it is.
Right. Like Boulder or Superior.
Really
leading the charge here. The toughest markets, I mean, everything else is about the same, but, Niwot, Lafayette, those are kind of the fastest paced markets, right? Yeah. But if days in MLS, the speed of the market, right? So Active to under contract time, we're sitting at 62 days. It tends to trend down all the way till about, June-ish. And then it rises back up. But that is really due to buyer behavior and seller behavior and the seasonality. Right now, I mean, it's going to feel a lot faster than this. So be careful sharing this unless you really want to just show, some markets are definitely moving faster than others.
Yeah. Or if you have luxury, something that will take longer to sell and it will, or the pricing's not right. That's when you want to use this. But really for the buyers out there, hey, it's not going to feel like you're going to get a whole month to make a decision anymore, even though it shows that.
You might get a couple of showings out there.
You'll get a couple, but you'll have a couple of chances, but don't wait too long because the market's going to continue to be picking up speed.
Yeah, and if you're looking in really hot markets like Louisville or Niwot or even in, some of the other markets, it's just going to be a lot faster than the average. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, the best homes always sell faster than the average home. So, if they want the best stuff, they got to be, All right. So let's talk price range.
Yeah. First, let's go ahead and just start on our solds. For February, we had a really good month in luxury sales. Really just looking at it month over month, we're up 80%. But really, I like to look at not the percents, but the year to date, but then also just what's being like the number 3+ million properties sold last month. That is great. January was pretty slim. So we've caught up to our year to date. And then we also just see how we're starting to see a lot more movement in that $2+ million range, which is a good sign. Of course, we have a lot more supply than demand in that area. So just be aware of that. But then as we get it more into the meats and potatoes, the city of Boulder, that 1 to 1.5 range, there's some sales, it's picking up for sure, but it's not quite nearly where the inventory is. And that's because of the cost. Whereas when we look across the rest of the county, we're going to see that those higher end homes are going to be staying a little bit longer across the county. And that's just a function of price and, where your rates are at, which of course you don't control. We're not blaming you, but that's really just a function of it. So for buyers out there, it's starting to pick up. But you can really see how the lower end of the market, that I don't want to say lower, but under that 800,000, that's where we see a lot more speed, a lot more sales kind of picking up.
Yeah, if you look at this by month supply and days on market, you can really see under that $1 million range, it's way more competitive. Under 2 months of inventory, sellers control the narrative. You're going to feel that more like that 3 to 4 months of inventory range from about $1 million to $2.5 million. And then we get into this way excessive inventory up at the high end. And all of a sudden that 2.5 to 3 million range jumped by like 7 months over the last month. So there's a lot of inventory out there. The only stuff that's selling is the really dialed in, buttoned up, good price stuff. But buyers are active pretty much the same across the board. So as you can see, 60, 70, 50 something days on every category. That really tells us that, if the product's right, buyers are out there, they're looking. If they have to take a loan, they're just being a little more choosy. And
yep.
I mean,
they're picky.
They're picky.
And they're allowed to be in this market.
They are. Tucker, tell us about average sales price in the detached market.
Yeah, so this is a really good metric to look at. What I want to focus on is our TTM percent change. This is really comparing the last 12 months to the previous 12 months. We can kind of see where are prices moving just outside of each month and the different composition of sales. We can see where are prices actually moving. And unfortunately, we see that there are some negative numbers in there. And where that comes from is we've had more supply than demand. And the cost of rates have also limited that demand as well. So we're going to continue seeing that until rates really start improving. We're going to continue to see about a steady, slightly increasing because we're getting into larger, nicer homes in this part of the year. But that TTM change, you can really see as a county, we're about down about 1% or so, almost 2% as a county down in sold price and detached. But that's also based on the quality of the home, right? We do have a lot of older homes in Boulder County that need some love. That 3 years ago, would sell at top dollar, just like a brand new, really buttoned up house. Now those ones are suffering a little bit. So the quality is really dictating also how, our sales prices are being slightly reduced.
Okay, attached market, this is one where maybe a different narrative out there, right? I mean, we had a really good February, so the numbers look exceptionally better than they should.
Mm-hmm.
This has been a tough market. We've really seen some trending down in prices. I would say somewhere in the 3% range, most likely, even maybe a little bit more than that. In some markets, City of Boulder specifically has actually seen the worst of this in so many ways because they just had attached product that was a little older that's been affected by, insurance, HOAs, all those stuff that you guys know about. But, we had a big luxury month in Boulder last month in the attached market. So that was good. But basically watch this. I would assume that, if you're working with buyers, make sure they understand the risks associated with the attached market right now and just understand what's coming out and what we're dealing with. Superior's taking the largest hit, though. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
They've been building all that new product, and I've been seeing it elsewhere, too. Like if you look out Southwest Weld County, they're seeing some of this where we're building product a little bit cheaper than the existing product that's out there.
And it's brand new and nicer.
And it's all brand new, right? So, and when that happens, even if it's a couple of years old, people are going to buy the new one, right? And so that just happens from time to time. And we're in a market swing. Attached always is affected worse than detached.
If you have more questions about issues surrounding attached, reach out to either of us. We both have way more to talk about with attached than
we built a whole class on it.
Yeah.
All right. So here's sold units. You can see that February we came in a little slower than we did a year ago, but those under contract numbers have looked so good that expect us to be caught up. It's not going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
But we are going to see the same thing we saw a year ago. Buyers aren't going to change their behavior unless something drastically changes. And right now, interest rates are similar. Their behavior seems similar. So expect more of the same, right? We're going into a March where we're going to have really good sales in a March, very similar to last year. Hopefully we don't have that saddle in the middle of the year, right? We had a kind of a weird, tough June, July, August last year.
Yeah.
And with any luck, we'll make up all of our ground there and then some. So,
and I do want to point one thing out, just how elastic the rates are to buyers' demand. Like for all of you out there right now working in the lender world, look at September. And then look at October. October is rarely above September in volume. Why? Because remember we had that drop in mid-September of rates. That led to more, and then we see how much it jumped into October, and that really carried through the rest of the year, which was a bit of an anomaly as you look at it, seasonally on the average. Normally it's a downward trend after September, but we had an upward tick, and then it was kind of all over the place.
Yeah, we had a really nice fourth quarter because of those rates, right? And just the fact that even if rates weren't a little bit better, sentiment was better. Right?
Sentiment, and people felt, hey, I knew I could get a deal as a buyer.
Election was over, the whole bit, right? All right, so the last slide we've got for you, percentage listed sale price. This one is really important because this gives you kind of that bearing of what to expect when they're making offers, right? They can go out and get a deal right now. That's what this tells me. And it's been like that for a couple of years, right? Not that they're going to get 90% or 10% off the purchase price, but this doesn't include concessions. It doesn't include price drops, but you can go in there and they're going to get 98% listed sale price, and they probably can get some concessions on top of that.
Absolutely.
So right now it's a little bit more in the buyer's favor than it was a year ago by like 0.5%. That's actually a pretty big swing because these numbers don't swing a whole lot over the course of a year. Now, over the course of a month, of course, they trend with seasonality, but things are looking good. I think buyers have an awesome time right now. They need to get out there and shop. And so if there's anything we can do to help you, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. All right, disclosures. And of course, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next month on our video. If you have any questions, reach out to Anthony or I, and we're always happy to help you.
Bye.
Take care, everyone.